In Unit 3, we'll be looking at the early experiences of this young republic, the United States. Now that America had won its independence, things were by no means going to be easy. America was faced with a great debt. On top of that, we were this small, frail little nation amid many superpowers which would soon be going to war with each other in Europe, and we would find ourselves kind of caught in the middle, trying to stay out of it. On top of that, we were hoping to grow, and as we start to move west, we're going to face problems as well. So, as this American journey begins, these early presidents, the early leaders, are going to be very important in shaping our new government. Our first president, George Washington, who richly deserves that title, the father of our country, not only had he served as our leader of the Continental Army and managed to hold us together and win a victory, not only had he served in helping to write our Constitution at the Constitutional Convention, but he became our first president, an obvious choice. And he will serve our country for 2 terms. And most amazingly of all, at the end of those 2 terms, he will choose, rather than run for a 3rd term, to step down and hand the power over to someone else, which sets a precedent for future presidents. In fact, everything Washington does as our first president will set an example or a precedent for everyone else that comes after him. So he'll have to make his decisions very carefully. Not only is Washington going to be a major part of shaping our new country, but 2 of the men who he chose to be part of his first cabinet, his Secretary of State, Thomas Jefferson, and his Secretary of the Treasury, Alexander Hamilton, are going to have a lot to do with shaping the political ideology which will eventually develop into our first 2 great political parties, Hamilton's Federalists and Jefferson's Republicans, sometimes called the Democratic Republicans or Jeffersonian Republicans. These 2 political ideologies are going to pit an industrialized, economics-based, northern, central government against the idea of an agrarian, more shared government with the states. Hamilton's ideas are going to be vastly different than the ideas of Jefferson, and eventually the ideas of these 2 people will clash. Ultimately, these 2 men's ideas will clash during the American Civil War, when one set of ideas will finally win out and shape the course of America from that point on. And so as you look at these 2 men and their early ideas, look at how America, early beginnings, although neither one of these parties can completely be called the beginnings of either the Democratic or the Republican Party, some of these similar battles are still the same today. However, there are differences. So look at the similarities in these early political ideologies compared to what we have today, and also look for how these early ideologies are going to shape America all the way up through our first 100 years as a nation. In addition to the political struggles, America is going to be setting out on new adventures. Eventually, under Jefferson as president, we're going to purchase Louisiana, and Lewis and Clark and other explorers will set forth to chart this growing land and to lay claim to even more land for the United States. However, while we're expanding here at home, and while our government is taking shape, we're also going to find ourselves caught in international struggles. We're going to see us fight our first overseas war with the Barbary pirates, and eventually take on Great Britain again in the War of 1812, in which America will really get a test of whether or not we can defend ourselves as a new nation. And on beyond that War of 1812, we're going to see America take a new political shape, as the Federalist Party of Hamilton actually, because of making the wrong political moves during the War of 1812, they're going to die out. And we're going to enter what's called the era of good feeling, where there's only one political party and theoretically all of America is starting to come together. But even through that, we're going to see that America still has some political differences. So this is a very formative period in American history where so many things are taking shape. So think about, as you study these things, not only how it's going to shape America for 5, 10, 20, 50 years after these events, but even look for the links in how it is still shaping America today.